Oh my gosh, it's almost time for Five Nights at Freddy's Security Breach to be released! And I am hyped, it looks so amazing. So you know what, in preparation, I thought I'd count down the top 10 Five Nights at Freddy's games. Now there's almost exactly 10 games in this franchise, so I think this is the perfect time to make one of these lists.
Number 10.
For a while, I was debating which entry should take the number 10 spot on this list. Freddy in Space 2 or Special Delivery? Even though it was a close call, I had to go with Special Delivery. This is such a great and unique idea for a game. The animatronic Freddy characters are invisible, and you only can see them through a phone. You already had me sold on that idea alone. And some that are exclusive to only this game are really creative. I wouldn't mind seeing more games like this.
Number 9.
This was an interesting choice. Now, not necessarily a bad one, but an interesting one. FNAF World dropped the whole survival horror aspect and went for an RPG adventure. Random choice, huh? But I will admit, it's a guilty pleasure of mine. I went through it, I had fun. It's not as bad as what people say. Being a fan of the game Chipper & Sons myself, I can see how much it inspired the art style of most of the enemies. I just wish it would have included the Strange Traveler. This would have been the perfect place to include him. Not a great FNAF horror game, but a fun FNAF adventure game.
Number 8.
It is now the future. Freddy Fazbear's has closed, and there is only one animatronic left, and he and you are stuck in the same building together. Five Nights at Freddy's 3 went for a kind of a different approach. This time, a jump scare may not mean certain death. This was probably the point in the franchise where the lore got flipped into high gear, especially with the mini-games, which were quite a challenge to find. And even to this day, it's still a little unclear as to what it all means. A lot of people had problems that it strayed away from the established feel of the other games, but experimentation is sometimes a good thing.
Number 7.
I don't think I'm alone when I say that I think Pizzeria Simulator is the hardest to get through out of all the games. I don't know, maybe it's just me, but I was finding it extremely difficult just to get past Night 3. Like a lot of FNAF games, I do give it a lot of credit for trying something new. Creating your own pizzeria with animatronics and arcade games is a pretty cool idea, and it really works well for this franchise. And the addition of the scrap animatronics really helps the game stand out. Probably not what a lot were expecting, but it's full of lore that bookends a lot of stories, and it's a ton of fun.
Number 6.
Well, this was kind of a surprise. Ditching the office space for a child's bedroom. Didn't see that one coming. Five Nights at Freddy's 4 at the same time set itself apart from the rest of the franchise. I mean, up until this point, it had been security guards and work shifts, so this was an interesting idea. Taking players back to that time where they questioned if monsters were actually hiding under their bed, this adventure has you checking the hallways and closets for Freddy and the gang. It is really effective when you're staring into the darkness wondering if anything is staring back at you. I will admit the sound they make doesn't really sound like breathing when you listen carefully, but it's still a great idea for jump scares. Add in some subtle story elements, and you have one memorable FNAF game.
Number 5.
The one that started it all. When the original Five Nights at Freddy's came out, there really hadn't been another game like it. Not only was it a success, it kicked off a re-interest in the survival horror genre. And hey, who doesn't remember the first time they pulled up their camera and saw Foxy darting down the hallway at them? I know it made me jump. And how about Freddys Laugh when he's right outside your door? There are just so many moments in this game that stand out, it's honestly hard to count. And the story really wasn't that clear. You had to piece it together by little clues that were around. And I think that's a really interesting way to tell a story. And now lots of games do that, all because of this game. It may be the simplest of the franchise, but you can't deny the impact it's had on the video game community.
Number 4.
Sister Location. This was the first Five Nights at Freddy's game to have a cinematic feel to it. It wasn't about just sitting in an office and repeating the same actions for 5 nights, but doing something different each time you return. One night you could be servicing Freddy, while another night you might be tiptoeing past Ballora. It always kept you guessing, but I think we all can agree that that Springlock segment is just plain infuriating. And it was pretty cool to have a callback to the original, as well as introducing fan-favorite character to the franchise, Baby.
Number 3.
This is what happens when you inject FNAF with steroids. Ultimate Custom Night. Taking the customization feature from the earlier games and giving you 5 times the characters, you yourself are your biggest enemy in this adventure. And what I mean by that is that you can choose the difficulty of the characters. If you want a more easy experience, set them to level 1. If you want to punish yourself, set them all to maximum. And it's not like this is the game and that's it. Nah, just like the other games, you get lore. Only this time, it's kinda cerebral, where everything is hidden under these intermission stories. But it is a really creative way to get the plot across.
Number 2.
This was such a great idea. Take the FNAF games from the past, remake them in 3D interactive environments, and make it VR. Well, the version that you're seeing right now on screen is the non-VR version, but yeah, just go with it. On top of everything, some brand new features are thrown in, like parts and services, and vent repair, and the mysterious new character, Glitch Trap. What is his story? And just when you think you've done everything this game has to offer, it's Halloween, man! With a whole set of new mini-games. Wow, this is like the game that keeps on giving. And what it gives is a whole lot of fun.
Number 1.
After debating, should I put Help Wanted or Five Nights at Freddy's 2 at the number 1 spot, I decided that it hands down has to go to the second installment. Honestly, when I think of Five Nights at Freddy's as a franchise of popular video games, this is the one that comes to mind first. In my opinion, this is the one that perfected the formula. It's tough, but not impossible. It provides brand new lore, but it's not overly complicated. It's just the right amount of everything from all areas. And I feel that even with many being released after it, it still holds up as a solid survival horror experience. But who knows, when Security Breach is released, maybe it will be the best. We shall see.